For years now, bankers on Wall Street have muttered under their breath about how Goldman Sachs manages its conflicts, always seems to come out playing both sides, making money all the way around. Finally, they've got a bit of a comeuppance in a deal involving Kinder Morgan and El Paso. Ren, you've been looking at this case. Interesting. They've sort of forfeited some fees here. What exactly was going on?
Well, it's kind of an unusual situation because as far as we know, this has never happened before. As they've said, we're not going to take our $20 million fee as an advisor to El Paso. In a larger settlement in which Kinder Morgan paid El Paso shareholders $110 million to settle the claim that they didn't get as good a deal.
Originally, they were trying to kill this whole deal.
Well, that's right. And another noteworthy thing about this whole case is Delaware Judge Leo Strine, the estimable and volatile Leo Strine, really put this case on the map earlier this year, where shareholders sued and said, look, we got a bad deal because there were all these conflicts involved.
Right.
Strine blew his top. Strine just...
What were the conflicts here? So, I mean, Goldman was advising...
Well, Goldman was advising El Paso. It also had a $4 billion stake in Kinder Morgan while it was advising El Paso, and one of its bankers had a personal stake as well. Also, the CEO of El Paso also had an interest in seeing that the deal...
So all kinds of conflicts in this deal.
All kinds of conflicts. Strine said, look, I cannot believe that you, Goldman Sachs, gave objective and, untainted advice to get this deal
the upshot
done.
is Goldman surrenders $20 million in this settlement agreement that just happened late last week.
Right.
But it wasn't like they really came out empty-handed from this
deal.
Well,
that's right. I mean, as I mentioned, they had the $4 billion investment in Kinder Morgan, and they profited on that to the tune of more than $1 billion. So it doesn't really slap them in the sense that they come out behind, but it certainly sends a very strong, on top of Strine's opinion, on top of the Barclays situation with Del Monte, it really sends a message to Wall Street in terms that they can understand, i.e. you won't get your fees if you're conflicted in the way that you all have been tolerating.
Well, Barclays Del Monte, we'll go back to that quickly. I mean, this was a big case. It was a leveraged buyout. Barclays was advising the seller, providing financing to the buyer. This was last year. They got really hit with they lost some fees. They
$23 million they had to pay in cash.
Right. So, I mean, this really kind of is, it's a mini trend, I guess, of sorts. But banks care about the bottom line, and this may alter some behaviors.
This is a message that they can understand.
And Strine really kind of made that point. I mean, he was hitting on that.
Yeah, and I think I mean, they may be more afraid of Strine than they are of the money at this point, because he's sort of the go-to judge on many of these cases. In Delaware, a lot of M&A deals come before him. He's become sort of a celebrity in that world himself, and he pulls no punches. He doesn't hold his tongue. And on top of the money, there's a reputational
There's a shame issue that goes on
here. I mean, that's kind of awful to be known as the bank that sort of did your clients wrong by being conflicted in a huge deal, a multi-billion-dollar deal like that.
All right, we'll leave it there, and we will be back with more Breaking Views tomorrow.